How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily, and today there's only one news story we're going to focus on, and that's Cristiano Ronaldo and his interview about Manchester United and eriktenhag.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. That's right.
So of course, like I said, there's only one news story that's capturing the headlines right now. And I think that is the only story that I can actually speak about today. And that's Cristiano Ronaldo, the interview that he done with Piers Morgan. Oh my word. Has that caused some madness? Absolutely unbelievable. I was not expecting that kind of interview. And I'm going to try and give my opinion on it in the most honest possible way. There's parts of Ronaldo's interview I agree with, and there's parts of it I don't agree with, but I will break that down. And yeah, it was just the maddest interview. And like I said, it was a couple of days ago, and I've kind of waited a couple of days just to kind of digest some of what was being said, kind of look at what was being said and whether it was actually genuine. Because you know what it's like with some news stories, you hear certain things and you're very quick to react. You know, a lot of people nowadays, they react without ever knowing two sides to the story. They kind of react without actually knowing the facts. So I thought, let me just wait and see. And when I saw some of the interview and the clips, and I actually heard what he was saying, I was like, wow. Because when you read something and then you physically see that being said by the person, you're kind of like, whoa, that's real. That's like, wow. And, he was talking about eriktenhag, and he made it very clear. He has no respect for him. And that for me is just mad. I could understand it from a player that's left the club, maybe has fallen out and then gone off, a bit like the Aubameyang situation, should we say. We'll use that as a comparison. It was very well, documented that Aubameyang and Mikel Arteta had a falling out, and that is why Arsenal had got rid of Aubameyang. And we see all the stuff after he left and him talking about Arteta and everything. And I'm not saying that's right, but you understand it. He's left. He can now, air his thoughts and his grievances and everything else. But when you're a player of the club and you're a player of the stature of Cristiano Ronaldo, that's not a good look. I don't care what way you want to paint it up. That is not a good look. And again, you're hearing a lot of comments by ex-professionals, Manchester United, former players and everything. And they're defending Ronaldo. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you're wrong. You're so wrong for defending him. Because when certain things go on in other clubs, you're very quick to criticise the player. You're very quick to say that what they've done is bringing the club into disrepute. They're bringing, the name of the club through the mud, and they're just dragging it all up. And I look at that and then I see what goes on, and there's no excuse for it. And I know he's not a former Manchester United player, but Graham Souness, for example, is defending Cristiano Ronaldo. There was a similar situation last season at Chelsea with Lukaku when he came out with his comments that he made about the club and everything. And Graham Souness absolutely tore into Lukaku and spoke about how he's dragging the club through the mud and everything else. But then Ronaldo, you're the opposite. Why? It doesn't make sense. It's very contradictory. And I just think that whilst you're still a player of the club, you cannot do that. I understand that Ronaldo's probably played his last game for Manchester United. Let's be perfectly honest about it. How can he possibly come back from this? He can't. Once you condemn and start ripping into the manager, it's either the manager or the player. And I want Manchester United fans to think very, very carefully here before you start speaking about this and saying get rid of the manager. Because this has become all too common in football now, where player power, and loads of them group together and they get rid of a manager and everything. We see it at every single club. I'll use Arsenal as the example because obviously it's my club and I see what happens from within. But, Unai Emery, when he came to Arsenal, for example, results were not going great, before he was sacked. But it was very evident that he had lost the dressing room and there was issues over Mesut Ozil and people that were supporting Ozil or Emery, and there was this divide. And ultimately, player power won. Because Emery was basically told, you have to play Ozil, you're going to have to involve him because of the wages and everything. Ultimately, like I said, player power won. And Emery was out the door. You look at the scenario at Manchester United, and you can think of their managers all the way through. David Moyes, after Sir Alex Ferguson. Players didn't want him. Players were not happy about him. Player power. You go into the next appointment and you look at managers right up to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You're thinking about Ralph Rangnick. And he's someone that Ronaldo ripped into as well. That was something when he said that, the club, the size of Manchester United, bringing a sporting director, which is what he was, a sporting director, as a coach. Ronaldo didn't even know who he was. And you're looking at that and you're thinking, yeah, it's not great, is it? Jose Mourinho, you think about his time there. It's very evident that players were not getting on with him and everything. There was the whole Pogba situation, player power. And ultimately, if players stop playing for you and you don't start picking up the results, then the knock-on effect to that is you lose your job. It's very, very common and very, very, the now. This is something. And I think that clubs need to start backing the management, get rid of the bad apples and let, that person grow the club and let the club blossom. And Mikel Arteta is a prime example of this because we've had the issues at Arsenal. I mentioned the Aubameyang situation. We had the Mesut Ozil situation. Big player, big character, big personality, following, you name it. There's people out there, like with Ronaldo, that would pick Mesut Ozil over the club. There were people that were saying, Ozil goes, I go. And there will be people at Manchester United that say, if Ronaldo goes, I go. I've seen an interview on television already as well from a Manchester United fan standing outside Manchester United, and he's saying, if Man United, get rid of Ronaldo, then there is no Manchester United. What's the point in coming along to Manchester United if Ronaldo's not there? That's the power that these players have. And that has to change. Because you'll go through this cycle, constant. And what I will give praise to, Stan and Josh Kroenke for, is that when things were going bad with Arsenal, and Arteta was going through this, period where he was trying to build and lay down rules and disciplines and non-negotiables, there were certain individuals that were not wanting to abide by that. And the club stuck with the manager. They got rid of Mesut Ozil. Out the door, bye-bye. You can even go to a lesser extent. You have Matteo Guendouzi. There's another player. Problems. Back the manager, out the door. Aubameyang, captain at the time, just put on a brand new massive deal. Bye-bye, out the door. Back the manager. Now when you look at Arsenal, you look at the way that they're playing this season, you look at the way that the team are as a whole, the bond, the unity, everybody on the same page, everybody doing the same thing. They were justified in backing the manager. So what I would say to Manchester United fans is that back the manager. I know Ronaldo, he's a legend of the club. He's one of the greatest players to ever play football. There'll be debates over that all day long, whether it's Ronaldo, Messi, Maradona, Pele, or whoever. He is right up there as one of the best ever. But this is your club. This is Manchester United. And you cannot let a player be bigger than your club. So you have to back the manager. You have to back what he does to get rid of the rotten apples and to, bring in a new dawn, a new era. Because for about a decade now, you've been going through this cycle after Sir Alex Ferguson. And if you want to continue in that cycle, carry on. I'm just giving my thoughts and opinion on it from somebody that's seen it with his own club at Arsenal. It doesn't matter what scale it is, we've seen it. The club have backed Arteta, and right now, at this exact moment in time, it's justified because we're sitting top of the Premier League by 5 points. We look a completely different team. We look a completely different unit. Everybody's in harmony. Manchester United would swap that with us right now, wouldn't you? Of course you would. So you look at some of the other stuff that he's been saying, and I think this is something that Manchester United fans will agree on and they're really happy about, is that he called out the Glazers. Absolutely tore into the Glazers. He says that they don't care for the club. In his opinion, he doesn't think that they care. It's a business. They don't care. And I think everybody can see that. And a lot of owners, you do get loads that, are very much business-like. That's why they're, businessmen with so much money, because they're smart in what they do. But they don't realise that clubs, to us fans, they're not just a club. They're a way of life. And you're messing with people's ways of life. And that's the maddest part about it. So I look at all of that, what he said. He also talked about, the facilities at Manchester United, the training facilities, that things haven't changed. There was stuff there that he was using as a 20-year-old. And he's looking at it going, have you not invested? Have you not upgraded? And I've got friends that are Manchester United fans, and they've been moaning about the facilities at Old Trafford for years. Everything looks pretty on camera. Everything looks great. You see Old Trafford packed out, 70-odd thousand. You think, amazing. Look at that stadium. The reality is, Old Trafford is run down. It's a horrible stadium. It's not nice to go to. It's falling apart. And any Manchester United fan with a single ounce of honesty will agree with that. It's not a nice place. It's falling apart. But the training ground, they've clearly not spent any money on it. They've clearly done nothing to try and move with the times, shall we say. And what you've got to remember is, as a player, the training facilities is probably one of the most important parts of a deal when joining a club. It's not like, I'm going to go and play at Old Trafford and the Emirates and everything. Because what you've got to remember is, they're only going to be there once a week. Every other Saturday, maybe the odd midweek game and whatnot. That's not their home. Where their home will be the training ground. That's where they will be 4 or 5 times a week. That's where they hone their skills and do everything else. That's their home, the training facilities. So you want to have the best training facilities. You don't want things that are run down and not great. He just absolutely tore into the club. And like I said, I don't know whether it's a strategic move. It's something because he wants to go in January. He's got something planned. Who knows what the motive behind it is. He's now gone away for the World Cup with Portugal. So he's got a 4-week break from worrying about this. There's talk that he's going to be fined like £1 million, which is 2 weeks' wages. There's talk about that Manchester United could cancel his contract. There is actual... a way of doing that now because of what's been said. It could be a breach of a contract. Obviously, we don't know the legalities of it and whatnot. But also, there was one thing that I thought was really damning on Manchester United. And that was the comments from, Ronaldo about his children, the family side of things. Now, we all know Cristiano Ronaldo's personal circumstances and that he, recently had twins, boy and a girl. And sadly, the boy passed away at birth. And obviously his daughter was really ill as well. And he goes on to say that he'd spoke to the club, the hierarchy, and explained that he wouldn't be at pre-season and whatnot because of his daughter being ill. And he had to be there for his family. And I think There's not a single person that would begrudge or say you can't do that. Your family is most important. Ronaldo's made that very clear. But there were people at the club that he felt didn't really believe his story. That they felt he was just trying to pull a fast one to get out of going to pre-season. And I think that is damning. That is really, really bad. A man who's just lost his child and has another child that's seriously ill in hospital, and a club are not really believing your reasons for not wanting to go to training and be at pre-season, that's not a good look. And if I was a Manchester United fan, I would be fuming about that, because that does not hold your club in good light in any way, shape or form. But yeah, like I said, the interview itself, I believe the full interview will be coming out over the next couple of days. So it'd be interesting to see what revelations are in there that haven't been, put out already. Because the bits that they're already putting out, you're sitting there and thinking, are they going to really put all the real juicy stuff out straight away? Surely they've held something back. Surely there's something there that we haven't seen yet. We don't know. Obviously, it's going to be very much watched. That's for sure. When that comes out. But it'd be interesting to see what else is said. It'd be so interesting to see, because I just think that it's crazy. It's crazy. And I think Cristiano Ronaldo's time at Manchester United is done. I don't think there's any coming back from this. Some people have said he's, put himself on the line for the best of Manchester United. I've got no doubt that he loves the club. He'd been there a long time. He'd been there from when he was a young boy. I've got no doubt about his love for Manchester United and the fans and everything. But Cristiano Ronaldo is Cristiano Ronaldo. He does what he wants. And he's felt this was the right thing to do. And it'd be interesting to see what happens after the World Cup and, his time at Manchester United. But for me, I think it's done. I think it's finished. The moment you start questioning the manager, you put the whole club in a position. It's the manager or you. And I can't see the hierarchy going, okay, bye Ten Hag, we keep Ronaldo. Can't see it at all. And I agree with that. You've got to back the manager in this instance. You've got to back him. So very, very interesting. And listen, I would like to know your thoughts on this. I would like to know in the comment section what you think about this whole situation. If you're a Manchester United fan, let me know in the comment section what you think. And for anyone that supports other clubs and they've got an opinion on it, let me know in the comment section. So that is it for today's DT's Daily. As usual, make sure you hit the subscribe button, smash a like on this video, and I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.